Princess Lyria stood on the gilded balcony overlooking the grand arena, her navy blue skin shimmering under the artificial starlight that bathed the Varelian capital. Her blonde hair, braided with platinum threads, cascaded over her armored shoulders as she surveyed the crowd below. Tonight's entertainment promised something special: a human prisoner, captured during the border skirmishes near the Terran colonies. "Bring forth the human," she commanded, her voice carrying across the arena through amplification crystals. Captain Jax Reed emerged from the holding cells, his uniform torn and stained with dried blood, yet his stride remained steady. He was tall for a human, muscular, with dark hair and eyes that held no fear, only a quiet, calculating assessment of his surroundings. The crowd jeered, throwing insults at the alien warrior. Lyria descended from her platform, her crimson cape flowing behind her like liquid fire. She circled him slowly, her silver eyes analyzing every detail. "So this is the famed human resilience?" She laughed, the sound like crystal bells. "You look fragile, Captain, breakable." Jax met her gaze evenly. "Looks can be deceiving, Your Highness." His calm defiance sparked something unexpected in her chest, irritation mixed with intrigue. She gestured to the arena master. "I hereby wager my royal jewels, the Star of Varelia, itself, that this human will not survive the trial of valor. 3 opponents. 3 rounds. He will break before the second." The crowd erupted in shocked whispers. The Star of Varelia was priceless, a symbol of her royal lineage. Her advisors protested, but she silenced them with a raised hand. "Do you accept these terms, human?" she asked, leaning close enough to see the flecks of gold in his brown eyes. "And if I survive?" Jax asked quietly. "Then you win your freedom and my jewels," she said dismissively. "Though I assure you, that won't happen. Humans are cowards who talk of honor but flee when faced with true danger." For the first time, something flickered in Jax's expression, not anger, but disappointment. "You don't know us at all," he said softly. Lyria felt an unexpected sting at his words, but she pushed it aside. "We shall see. Tomorrow you enter the trial. Prepare yourself, Captain. The galaxy will witness what humans are truly made of." As guards escorted him away, Jax turned back once. "Princess Lyria," he called. "When I win, I want only one thing: a chance to prove you wrong about my people." She watched him disappear into the shadows, his words echoing in her mind. No prisoner had ever spoken to her with such quiet conviction. She touched her chest where her heart beat faster than usual, confused by the sensation. "Foolish human," she whispered, though her voice lacked its earlier certainty. "You'll break like all the others." But even as she said it, doubt crept into her thoughts for the first time. The arena floor gleamed with fresh sand as Jax entered through the Warrior's Gate. The morning suns cast dual shadows across the oval battlefield, and the stands overflowed with thousands of spectators eager for blood. From her royal box, Lyria sat forward, her fingers gripping the armrest with unexpected tension. The first opponent emerged, a hulking Carthian berserker, twice Jax's size, covered in chitinous armor and wielding a massive war club. The crowd roared its approval. The gong sounded. The Carthian charged with earth-shaking force, but Jax moved like water, sidestepping at the last moment. The war club cratered the sand where he'd stood. Lyria leaned forward, her breath catching. The human fought defensively, studying patterns, waiting for openings. "Fight, coward!" Someone in the crowd shouted, but Jax wasn't fleeing, he was learning. When the Carthian overextended on a wild swing, Jax struck with precision, targeting joints in the armor. Not to kill, but to disable. After a grueling exchange, the Carthian collapsed, defeated but alive. Jax helped his opponent stand, offering respect. The gesture silenced the crowd. Even the Carthian looked stunned. Lyria's silver eyes widened. Impossible, she breathed. The second opponent was a cybernetically enhanced Drexian assassin, built for speed and lethality. Lariah felt her pulse quicken. This would surely break him. The assassin moved like lightning, blades flashing in the sunlight, yet Jox adapted again. He used the environment, kicking sand, using broken weapons as shields, turning the Drexian speed against her. When he finally disarmed his opponent, instead of delivering a killing blow, he offered his hand. "You fought with honor," he said, his voice carrying across the silent arena. The Drexian hesitated, then accepted, stunned by his mercy. Lariah stood without realizing it, her hands trembling. This wasn't the performance of a desperate man fighting for survival. This was something else. Something that made her chest ache with unnamed emotion. The final opponent was General Krovik, a legendary Virelian warrior who had never been defeated. He entered with ceremony, his navy blue skin adorned with battle scars, each one a story of victory. As the two warriors faced each other, Lariah found herself silently pleading, "Don't break. Please don't break." The realization shocked her. When had her certainty transformed into hope? When had this human survival become something she needed to see? The final gong sounded and the battle began. Krovik was methodical, powerful, experienced. Jox took hits that should have felled him, his lips split, ribs surely cracked, yet he rose every time. Not with rage, but with unshakable resolve. The fight stretched on for what felt like hours. Blood stained the sand, both human red and Virelian silver. Lariah gripped her throne, whispering words she didn't know she remembered. "Get up. Please, get up." And every time, impossibly, he did. The arena fell silent as Jox delivered the final blow, not lethal, but decisive. General Krovik stumbled backward, disbelief etched across his scarred face, then nodded slowly in acknowledgement before dropping his weapon. The human had won. For 3 heartbeats, no one moved. Then the arena erupted not in jeers, but in thunderous applause. Even Virelians, proud and fierce, couldn't deny what they'd witnessed. Jox stood in the center of the ring, bloodied and swaying, yet still standing. Lariah felt her legs moving before her mind could catch up. She descended from the royal box, ignoring her advisor's protests, her blonde hair streaming behind her as she walked across the sand. The crowd hushed, watching their princess approach the victorious human. She stopped before him, their eyes meeting. Up close, she could see the toll the trial had taken, bruises darkening his skin, cuts across his face, the tremor of exhaustion in his stance. Yet his eyes remained clear, focused on her with that same quiet strength. "You won," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I did." Jox's response was simple, without boast. She reached up. Removing the star of Virelia from around her neck, the massive sapphire that had been in her family for generations. The jewel caught the sunlight, scattering rainbow fractals across the sand. She held it out to him, but her hand shook. "Take it," she commanded, but it sounded more like a plea. Jox looked at the jewel, then back at her. "I don't want it." Confusion flashed across her face. "What?" "I told you what I wanted, a chance to prove you wrong about humans." He took a step closer, close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from his battered body. "Did I succeed, Princess?" Lariah felt something crack inside her chest, the wall she'd built around her heart, the arrogance that had always shielded her from connection. "You did," she admitted, her voice breaking. "I was wrong. About you. About your people. About ... everything." Tears, unexpected and unwanted, slid down her navy blue cheeks. She tried to turn away, but Jox caught her hand gently. "Hey," he said softly. "It's okay to be wrong. It means you're willing to learn." The compassion in his voice undid her completely. Here stood a man who had every right to be angry, to mock her as she had mocked him, yet he offered only understanding. She looked up at him through blurred vision. "I gambled my jewels," she whispered, "but I lost something far more valuable." She placed her hand over his heart, feeling its strong, steady rhythm. "You've claimed something I never intended to wager my respect. My admiration, and—" She couldn't finish, couldn't admit the truth blossoming in her chest like starfire, but Jock smiled, understanding written in his eyes. "And?" he prompted gently. "My heart," she confessed, the words falling like petals. The medical bay's soft lights cast gentle shadows as Lariah personally tended Jax's wounds, having dismissed all attendants. Her hands trembled as she cleaned a cut above his eye, her training as a warrior allowing her to work with precision despite her churning emotions. "You don't have to do this," Jock said quietly. "I'm sure you have royal physicians." "I want to." She met his gaze. "I need to, please." He nodded, understanding the unspoken need for penance in her gesture. As she worked, their proximity felt electric. Her fingers brushed against his cheek, ostensibly checking for fractures, but lingering longer than necessary. "Your skin is so warm," she murmured, "like touching sunlight." Jax caught her wrist gently. "Lariah." The use of her name without title sent shivers through her. "You're crying again." She hadn't noticed. "I could have gotten you killed with my arrogance. My pride nearly cost you your life for entertainment. But I lived." He pulled her closer until she stood between his legs as he sat on the medical platform. "And you've changed. I see it in your eyes. How can you forgive me so easily?" She whispered, "Because holding on to anger would mean missing you." His thumb traced her jawline, the touch reverent. The brave woman who admitted she was wrong in front of her entire empire. Lariah's breath hitched. "This is forbidden. A princess and a human my people would never accept it." "My family, do you care?" Jax asked simply. She searched his eyes, finding only honesty and that quiet courage she'd come to cherish. "No," she realized with startling clarity. "I don't. For the first time in my life, I don't care about duty or expectations. I only care about this. About you." The confession hung between them for a heartbeat before Lariah closed the distance, pressing her lips to his. The kiss was tentative at first, an exploration of difference and similarity. His lips were softer than she expected, warm and yielding. He tasted like copper from split skin and something uniquely him. Jax's arms wrapped around her waist, pulling her against him despite his injuries. She felt his heart racing against her chest, matching the frantic rhythm of her own. Her fingers tangled in his hair as the kiss deepened, years of loneliness and royal isolation melting away in his embrace. When they finally parted, both breathing hard, Lariah rested her forehead against his. "I've never felt this before," she confessed. "This warmth, this ... need." "Love," Jock supplied softly. "It's called love. Is it always this terrifying?" She asked with a shaky laugh. "When it's real?" "Yes." He cupped her face with both hands, his thumbs caressing her navy blue skin. "But it's worth every moment of fear, Lariah. I promise you that." She believed him. The royal council chamber erupted in outrage when Lariah announced her decision. Her father, the emperor, sat rigid on his throne, his navy blue face darkening with anger. "Absolutely not." He thundered. "You will not throw away your heritage for a human prisoner." "He's not a prisoner anymore," Lariah said firmly, standing before the council with Jax at her side. "He won his freedom fairly, and I choose him." Her mother, Empress Selina, spoke more gently. "Daughter, be reasonable. This infatuation will pass. You have duties, responsibilities to our people." "I've spent my entire life fulfilling duties," Lariah replied, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "I've been the perfect princess, the model warrior, the obedient daughter. But I've been empty inside, Mother. Until him." She reached for Jax's hand, their fingers interlacing navy blue and tan, alien and human, different yet fitting perfectly together. "Captain Reed showed me what true courage looks like," she continued. "Not the courage to conquer, but the courage to show mercy. Not the strength to destroy, but the strength to protect. He fought 3 opponents not with hatred, but with honor. He could have mocked me when he won, but instead he offered me compassion." Admiral Corvex, her military mentor, stood. "Princess, you speak of honor, yet you would abandon your position for sentiment? This is weakness." "No," Jock spoke for the first time, his voice quiet but commanding. "Love isn't weakness, Admiral. It's the greatest strength any being can possess. Your princess had the courage to admit she was wrong in front of her entire empire. She had the strength to choose her heart over her crown. That's not weakness. That's the bravest thing I've ever seen." Silence fell across the chamber. Lyraya's eyes burned with unshed tears as she squeezed his hand gratefully. Her father's expression remained stern, but something softened in his gaze as he looked at his daughter. "And if I forbid this union? If I order you to remain?" Lyraya took a deep breath. "Then I will abdicate my title and leave with him. I'd rather be a commoner with Jox than a lonely princess without him." The Emperor stood, descending from his throne. The council held its breath. He approached the couple, studying them intently. Finally, he placed a hand on Lyraya's shoulder. "Your mother and I were arranged to marry," he said quietly. "We grew to love each other over decades. But you ... He looked at Jax. "You found something rare, immediate, undeniable connection. Perhaps the gods smile on such unions. Father?" Lyraya's voice broke with hope. "Love him, daughter. But don't leave us." He extended his hand to Jox. "Welcome to our family, Captain Reed, though I warn you keeping up with my daughter will be your greatest challenge yet." Jox shook his hand firmly. "Challenge accepted, Your Majesty." Lyraya laughed through her tears, throwing her arms around both of them. The princess who had bet a human would break had instead been broken, open herself shattered and remade by love that transcended worlds, proving that the strongest bonds are forged not in conquest, but in the courage to surrender your heart. As the council chamber erupted in cautious celebration, Lyraya pulled Jax close for a kiss witnessed by the empire that would now be theirs to share. 2 souls from different stars now bound by something stronger than duty or destiny. The choice to love bravely against all odds. The end.